What's going on YouTube? Halo here, bringing you another 1v1 matchup in Total War Warhammer 2. Today we're going to be playing Chaos versus Norsca. So let's jump right in. Alright, so today Chaos is going to be defending Hellcannon Hill. So for my build, Kholek and another Shaggoth, and then we're going to have a front line of Chaos Marauders just to kind of screen out javelins and soak up the charge. Backline of Chaos Warriors with great weapons, and then behind that we're going to have some Chaos Warriors with halberds in support. Sorcerer of Fire, going to be Metal, excuse me, going to be rocking Transmutation of Lead and Plague of Rust. Kholek with his Vigor as well as his relic weapon, the Star Crusher, and that's going to be the gist of it over here for Chaos. So let's move on over to Norsca. Alright, so Norsca rocking a full front line of Marauder champions with great weapons. They're going to be backed up in the rear with some Marauder spears to push out any skirmishers, and then Fimir warriors with great weapons, 2 units of Marauder hunters with javelins, anti-large, Fimir Balefiend of Shadows, and then Throg bringing up the center. So interesting builds here today, a little unorthodox. My opponent definitely going for an overpowering line push with all of his armor piercing, and myself going for more of a screening defensive build. Checked out the map before the battle and saw this hill for the deployment zone, and I'm like, that looks like a great place to put a Hellcannon, because Norsca doesn't exactly have anything too good for getting into this kind of formation. So I figured, we'll do something different, switch it up a bit, see how it goes. So let's jump into the match. Alright. So you can see here, going to start shooting off with my Hellcannon, set up my defensive position with my deployment, and my opponent immediately going to start pushing as soon as he sees that I have the high ground. Pop a shot at these great weapons, miss, and somehow end up almost hitting Throg. But hopefully we're going to be getting some better shots than that. I'm going to start going in here, landing a much better shot on some of these Marauder champions here. Getting 2 kills, but doing a good amount of damage. And yeah, we're just going to kind of pepper him here. Normally I would bring some Marauder Horsemen, and normally Norsca does as well. But since we didn't, it's just going to be kind of a grind out match. So I'm going to start pushing up my Chaos Marauders on the flanks, just to kind of screen and get a little bit of an envelopment with some flank shots. Start pushing up my halberds because I'm seeing that Throg's coming in, his Fimir coming in. My great weapon's going to get up here to match up with the Marauder champions. And yeah, I'm going to keep Kholek and the Shaggoth in support. And so right now, Hellcannon just kind of popping off some crazy shots right now, getting all sorts of weird angles. But those javelins going to be dropping some shots here. I'm going to pull these Marauders back just because they're not going to do very well in the matchup here. Throw my great weapons in. I'm just going to get my halberds in because it's too late to reposition them. Throw my Marauders into the match just to kind of tie them down, and then I'm going to support with my great weapons. So Marauders going in there. So yeah, the lines end up engaging, and then we're going to get Kholek and my Shaggoth just straight gooning in on Throg here. Opponent's going to drop the Pendulum. It's going to get okay damage, but it's really not going to do too much against Kholek and the Shaggoth or my Marauders, and he ends up actually hitting more of his Marauder champions. But yeah, Hellcannon just safe to sit back here and just start popping shots off. My Sorcerer's backing me up here, just kind of supporting with his Encourage and dropping spells where he can. So you can see Plague of Rust in here. I'm going to start pulling my Chaos Warriors with halberds over to support now that I have these guys tied up with my Marauders. Sorcerer's going to get in, Hellcannon dropping more shots. I get my great weapons into his javelins, and they're going to do good work there. But yeah, halberds holding the line. My great weapons losing the engagement over here, but my Marauders holding out against these spearmen. Kholek's going to be chasing after Throg, trying to get some good damage in, but these javelins are going to be rinsing them, doing a lot of work. Halberds still holding up pretty well here, getting into this Fimir a little bit, trying to bog down these champions. My Sorcerer going after the Balefiend. Shaggoth dealing with some more Marauder champions. Kholek just chasing and chasing after Throg, but I'm going to pull him back because he's getting pretty exposed out there, and he's getting absolutely reamed by these javelins. So I'm going to pull my halberds down to get into him and tie him up. He's going to bring Throg back now that his anti-large ranged components no longer in play, and back up because I'm going to pull Kholek through my halberds, and he's not going to want to chase through them. So yeah, halberds and Marauders over here just kind of holding back. Hell Cannon just doing great work again, getting another awesome shot on these spearmen. But yeah, at this point, pretty much just holding my engagements, just trying to pick and choose here. Kolek on pretty low health, so I'm just going to use him to support and take out some of the last infantry over here. Great weapons wrapping up some Marauder champions. He's going to start routing in these engagements. Got a terror route going on here. A Hell Cannon dropping a really solid shot on these spearmen, and they're going to route as well. Throg just doesn't have the health left to be able to just pull through and go after Kolek when he's backed up by this other Dragon Ogre. And this Hell Cannon is going to be dropping more shots. I end up hitting my own Marauders here. Thanks, guy. But yeah, going to keep these Marauders here just to support, get into the fight over here with my Dragon Ogres. The Halberd's going to get into these Fimir, which is going to be a really good matchup for me. Oh, and we got a spell coming in. Oh, really nice pendulum there. Ouch. Gets into my great weapons and my halberds, but the Fimir already low on leadership are going to end up routing, shattering the last of these Marauder champions. At this point, we're getting down to some javelins left, a Bale Fiend on low health, Throg on low health. It's pretty much just chasing him down now. The last of his forces engaging on the flanks over there. Marauder champions engage with the Chaos Marauders. And then we've got some spears over here against some more Marauders, and this fight's been going on the whole time, just grinding out. But yeah, we're going to get the Ogre in here against the Pale Fiend and Throg. It's just going to be a beatdown. Throg is going to end up getting terror routed, and with that, it's going to be army losses and a shatter. So, a really quick match, but I thought it was a really fun one. Some different builds, a little unorthodox, kind of a theme going on here. Some Norscan raiders trying to get at some chaos goodies, maybe steal themselves a Hell Cannon. But yeah, that's the gist of that. Let's hop into the kills. Alright, so numbers wise, you can see fairly even here. As far as my build goes, these screening Marauders doing pretty well, soaking up some charges, bogging stuff down. My great weapons doing really good work in combat. 63, 100, 331, even picking up a Chevron here. My Chaos Warriors with Halberds did really good. Not always in the best engagements, but we managed to get them into the Fimir, get them into Throg here and there. Definitely where I wanted them to be. Picking up some Chevrons as well with 41 and 56 kills. Kolek gooning after Throg. Took a ton of damage from those Javelins. I think Javelins are a really useful unit in the Chaos matchup with Norsca, because they're all the large stuff that you're going to bring, like Shaggoths, even like Trolls, Weird Spawn. If someone brought those, they're a really good unit with their armor sundering. These guys will do a great job of focusing them down because of their low armor. Hell Cannon really doing a great work here, 68 kills with the Chevron. Not tons of kills, but dropping them where it counts on some pretty elite infantry, some flanking units, getting good damage in. My Sorcerer of Metal doing a really good job supporting with his Plague of Rusts, making my engagements a lot better for my infantry. My opponent over here with Throg only getting 18 kills, mostly trying to square up with Kolek, but with that other Shaggoth in support, and then my Sorcerer using Plague of Rust and things like that, he just wasn't able to make that engagement work, even when he was backed up by his Javelins. Fimir Bale Fiend with Shadows, getting some really good pendulums in, doing some pretty good work against my great weapons and halberds. But there was also a really bad one in the beginning, so kind of wasted some Winds of Magic there and ended up hitting one of his own units. His heavy infantry line here, not doing too bad, but against the build I brought, they weren't going to do the best. Those great weapons getting put to waste against Marauders. Chaos Warriors with great weapons getting better engagements because they were supported by my Sorcerer with Plague of Rust, so my guy's chewing through his pretty quick. And then some Spearmen here. A good pick, but I didn't bring any Cav. I went with a little unorthodox list here, something I normally wouldn't run too often. Marauder Horsemen would generally get into like his backlines, things like that, and start screening, so these spears would be really useful for pushing them back. The Fimir with great weapons, a really great unit again, but didn't really get in the best matchups. Got into some Marauders and did good work, but getting into like halberds and things like that, really bad match for them. Their armor sundering is really nice, just like why I like the Weird Spawn. A really good anti-large unit, so if you get them into like some Dragon Ogres and then you can get the Javelins focusing them down, it's going to do a ton of work because your Ogre is going to be dropped by 30 armor. Unfortunately, they didn't really get an opportunity for that, so it just kind of didn't work out for them. Definitely not the best build to end up coming against this, because the infantry fight's just going to end up bogged down, and he didn't really have anything to get into this Hell Cannon. Whereas if he had brought some Marauder Horsemen, probably would have had a lot more trouble, would have had to screen with my Marauders or some Halberds, push them off with my Shaggoths, things like that. Would have made life a little more difficult, but I did have a really good position with that hill. So yeah, just a fun little matchup, some unorthodox builds, a little bit thematic with some Chaos versus Norsca. But yeah, feel free to drop a comment, like the video, hit the little bell button if you'd like some more content being uploaded. I'm going to be bringing you more videos pretty regularly, at least once a day for the most part. Drop a comment down below, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.